Welcome back to What's Next Longevity Deal Talk. We have some news you need on tap. But first, this message. AMBA is a company focused on improving the efficiency and effectiveness of care for older adults, improving their lives and the lives of caregivers and family. How? Meet founder and CEO Stuart Hamilton.
Well, what we do is we place sensors in the homes of older adults, whether those homes are private homes or whether they are in independent living or assisted living. They're very discreet, almost invisible, and they passively gather useful information as the resident goes about their day. We're constantly measuring their heart rate, their breathing rate, looking for symptoms of sleep apnea. When they get out of bed, if it's in the middle of the night and the resident is quite vulnerable, we can alert a caregiver to come and provide them with assistance if necessary. In the daytime, we're measuring bathroom use, exercise, medication compliance, all kinds of information that we gather passively. The resident doesn't need to remember anything, press any buttons, or wear anything. What that lets us do is provide caregivers with exactly the information they need to deliver the right care intervention at the right time and improve the lives of older adults.
And Stuart, there are metrics that you use to measure just how effective all this is.
What we set out to do is to simultaneously improve the efficiency of care, so using your precious caregivers as efficiently as possible. And we also measure those outcomes. So it's not uncommon in our clients for us to see a reduction, for example, in nighttime falls of 60 or 70 or even 80% within a couple of months of deploying AMBER. We also see reductions in hospitalizations. We see improvements in medication compliance, simultaneously see improvements in both the efficiency and the effectiveness of care provision.
And there's a personal story as to how this came about?
That's right. So when my father got older, he moved to an independent living community very near to me. And I expected, as a technologist, to find some great technology that would help me and help his caregivers deliver just the care he needed, just when he needed it. But I was very surprised to find that the most popular technology used for supporting older adults was just a button that the resident is expected to press when they're in need of help. And what I set out to do is find a way to passively gather the information that our system needs to indicate that somebody is in need of assistance without them having to do anything at all.
Amazing. Where can people go for more information?
Well, you can either email me directly. I would love to hear from you. My email address is stu, S-T-U, @amba.co. If you'd like to learn more and see some videos and more information, you can take a look at www.amberhealth.com.
I'm Fred Fishkin along with Mary Furlong. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Fred. Here we are in December, and that means holiday season is here. But before that, we have a lot of excitement coming up at the What's Next Longevity Innovation Summit.
And that is what we are going to dive into today. You, of course, are the executive producer, Mary. The summit opens on December 15th and continues through the 17th at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. And with us today from the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, based in Toronto, is Director of Business Development and Partner at Cabby Ventures, Mel Barsky. Hi, Mel.
Hey, Fred. Hey, Mary. How are you?
Hi, Mel. I'm wonderful to have you and Cabby back in the podcast today, and so grateful for all the work that you and the team at Cabby are doing. You're getting great results with the startups you're supporting and great research. And I bet you even have snow, correct?
Unfortunately, we do have snow this week. We've gotten a little bit and it's starting to get plunging cold. So this week I'm taking off to Mexico. And then as soon as I come back, I'll be attending your conference, hopefully with a little bit of a suntan.
Oh, that sounds great. We're honored to have you with us again at the Longevity Innovation Summit. Our title this year is The Next Care Transformation. And there are so many issues we'll be covering here at the end of 2025. What are the trends and the issues that are at the forefront for you at Cabby?
Thanks, Mary. It's been a great year for Cabby and a very interesting year. Lots of changes happening in the economies globally and reflecting back here in North America. So looking forward to some very exciting topics at the conference this year. The big one's always AI, and generative AI machine learning has been obviously the talk of the town, and what that means for innovation in age tech and how it's rapidly changing. So I'm looking forward to the elite speakers that you have that will be talking on that topic specifically. And this is Washington, and it's always about policy, and you're going to have some very interesting speakers talking about, the impact of tariffs. And that, of course, is important to all of us internationally. So I'll be looking at it from maybe a different perspective than those south of the border. So it's fantastic that you're going to be having that caliber of speakers and talking about important and timely topics like that that really address policy. And what better place to do it than in DC?
Well, we're going to talk more about the agenda, but we should remind everyone that they can still get information and register at WashingtonInnovationSummit.com. Mary, on the 15th, you're starting off with a series of boot camps in the afternoon.
Yeah, the boot camps are so important. We've added these to our conferences, and these are workshops designed for skill building and learning. For example, how do you use AI to drive sales? Update on the NIA. So the NIA is hosting two boot camps, one on how to work with state governments. Many of the startups we work with are really going to market within state governments like New York, where Greg Olson has done over 32 deals. And that's really helped grow the companies. And I'm doing a boot camp with John Reinhardt on go-to-market strategies. And we have boot camps on sales. And so these are really things that you need to know as you drive your business forward. We really bring people together who can provide valuable information of what's working today and how that's changed from, say, 6 months ago.
Yeah, some of the others, how to work with the Age Tech Collaborative from AARP, how to make your partnership work in the longevity market, collaborating to validate how startups win with academic partnerships, sticking the landing, strategies to successfully exit your company, some go-to-market strategies in the longevity market. What an agenda, Mary. And that's just the first afternoon. So tell us about some of the people who are presenting.
And of course, that will be at the Age Tech Collaborative office. And the people are amazing. So privileged to have Todd Heim from the National Institute on the Aging, some amazing entrepreneurs and investors from Cabby, from Ziegler, from Primetime Partners, and some entrepreneurs such as Rashik Dar from Solid Health, Beth Saunders from Life Bio, Ken Roos from Vital Path Advisory, Ryan Peterson from Chemo, and Mel. So some of your thoughts about why the boot camps are important.
It really makes your conferences more than just a conference. It really is like our accelerator programs. We at Cabby, in addition to being a funder, we have accelerator services. And these truly get to the heart of those acceleration programs that help those innovators learn how to grow their business, learn how to develop their network, learn how to get funding, and on top of that, meet some of the key leaders in the industry to get everything from non-dilutive funding envelopes. So you've got the people there, you've got the boot camps there with experts in these spaces, and it really turns the precursor to the conference into an acceleration program, and that's a huge amount of value to the innovators that are entering the industry.
Right. The next morning at the National Press Club, you, Mel, Mary, Todd, and Lance Robertson will get things underway formally in the morning. Lance is director for healthcare at Guidehouse, his former U.S. Assistant Secretary for Aging and ACL Administrator. And you'll be giving an overview of the longevity ecosystem.
Yes, I will. I'll be sharing all of the different parts of it. There are state governments, there are nonprofit innovators like Volunteers of America. And so I'll be sharing who's in the room, all focused on caregiving in some way. And then Mel, you'll be talking about the brain economy.
We're continuing from there with a panel um, titled Decoding CMS, How Healthcare is Evolving to Fund Access, Integration, and Outcomes. And then we'll get into aging policy update from Mary Lazar, the acting administrator and assistant secretary for aging with the U.S. Administration for Community Living. And then we have a panel on state leaders innovating in the government sector with the leaders from New York, Florida, and Maryland. Maryland and New York and Florida. I mean, this is where Canadians go to winter and retire. So this is an important area.
There are some real all-stars, Mary, on the panel you have called the Transformation of Care for Older Adults. FinTech founder and news anchor Richard Louie is going to moderate that. And we'll hear from AARP Executive VP Nancy Lamond, from Samsung Health, Ken Honeycutt, from the National Alliance for Caregiving, Jason Resendez, our friend Sarita Mohanty from the SCAN Foundation, and Justin Bogard from GoGo Grandparents. So you've got all of that. And then there are research sessions followed by a fireside chat on the impact of tariffs, which Mel alluded to. That should be really interesting.
That's all before the morning break. I mean, it's a what we're learning from the entrepreneurs and the investors that we work with, we've translated into this conference. It's really such an amazing agenda, right, Mel? And I'm so happy to have you there co-hosting with me.
Thank you, Mary. I love coming and co-hosting again. So thank you for inviting me. We always at Cabby like to be part of this ecosystem. We really find this conference and your series of conferences as very niche, very boutique, and you really get decision makers there. So it's a great event to be at. There's so many panels and speakers not to be missed. MCOs and their role in innovation, AI and the transformation of care, and later in the afternoon, I'll get to moderate the pitch for distribution.
There's a session on using AI to put your health in your hands that's moderated by Alice Park, senior health correspondent from Time. It will also feature our friend Dr. Mike Roizen, Chief Wellness Officer Emeritus at the Cleveland Clinic. Mary, then you have a key session titled What Investors Are Looking For.
Yes, I'm always privileged to moderate that with Dan Herman from Ziegler, and we'll hear from Amelia Hay at the Age Tech Collaborative, Gina Klein from Enable Ventures, Abby Miller-Levy from Primetime Partners, and Mel Barsky from Cabby Ventures.
They've got the pitch for distribution that afternoon too. And Mel and Mary, tell us more about how that works.
The pitch for distribution is always a highlight because companies need to figure out how to go to market. So we have different constituencies represented, and then we have 4 promising startups with over $1 million in revenue who get to pitch. Last year, there were 18 meetings that came out of the pitch for distribution. So it's really one of the most exciting parts. And we have people from senior housing, from home care, from government who decide whether they're going to take a meeting. We've been doing this since we started our conferences, and it's always an important part. We also have a pitch room this year, too.
And there have been some success stories from past events, right?
Yes, there were a lot of paddles raised. I think 18 meetings happened out of last year's pitch for distribution.
And then you have an interesting session called From Both Sides Now, What's Next in 2026? You've got a Democrat, Bob Blancato, and a Republican, Joel White, discussing health and policy highlights and really taking a look ahead, too.
Yes, there's a lot of focus on health innovation. And one of the state executive directors told me that this was the most important conference I've ever done. And I think that's because the times are changing and you need to understand where the regulatory environment is going. And so now we'll see and learn what are the kinds of innovations that are going to be supported by the new government. Agencies that are focusing on innovation. I'm so excited to have Steve Kanya there, who's VP of Health Innovation. And then we have our annual holiday party that evening. It's always fun. But Mel, I think the mingling and conversation that takes place is pretty important too.
Absolutely. That's where all the networking happens and the follow-up conversations and some of the handshakes and deals to have follow-on meetings really get solidified. and there's some long-term friendships and bonding that takes place. So it's an amazing event.
And there are more great speakers and sessions on Wednesday. AARP Executive VP Anna Banks, author and editor Myrna Blythe, Jeff Cole from the Center for the Digital Future, Stephen Kanya, you mentioned him, Mary, Chief Innovation and Strategic Partnerships and Assistant Secretary for Technology Policy at HHS, and a great panel on emerging trends in technology in the longevity market. And then we go back to you, Mel.
Yeah, I'll be moderating a panel on building the brain health economy. So this is something that has been started by a number of some real brain power, Dr. Harris Ayer out of San Francisco and Texas, and some groups internationally that have really been looking deep into how brain health can have so many spin-off effects in our greater and larger overall economy. And dealing with brain health issues today is at the core of so much more. So it'll be an important conversation, and and all the technologies and innovators that'll be there, how they fit into this broader health ecosystem, and why it's important not just for the U.S. but countries globally to be thinking this way, and how they should be investing in this area now and in the future.
Go
I
ahead.
always go back to Steve Jurvetson, the venture capitalist, who said value creation turns on demographics, technology, and the regulatory environment. Next year, January, the boomers are turning 80. That's the demographic wave. Technology has got AI infused in it. That's changing the landscape and the regulatory environment. This conference has all three of those issues, all three of those topics. So if you want to build value, join us. We have some room for about 30 more people, a few more exhibits, and there's a pitch room to help you find a partnership.
Well, Mary, an awful lot went into organizing an agenda like this. So congratulations.
Well, here's hoping, right? I know it will be great, and Mel is always a wonderful co-host and always funny.
The site again to register still and get more info is WashingtonInnovationSummit.com. Thank you, Mel, for taking the time with us once again.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Mary. Looking forward to seeing you soon in Washington.
Well, thank you as well to our sponsor for this episode, AMBA, providing technology to enable responsive, personalized, and effective care. Discover how AMBA can benefit your facility, your residents, their families, and caregivers. Find more at ambahealth.com. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch or listen. Remember, you can always find us and the Living Longer, Better, Smarter podcast as well at maryfurlong.com/podcasts.